loading, loading. Come on, loading, loading. Okay, I think we're live. Are we live? Well, yes. Hello. This is Tim Tsang from Automata. I work as the creative technologist. We're so happy today to have resident artist Kendra Ware. Hi, Kendra.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Is this
Nice
working?
to
I
be
feel like,
here.
yeah, it's super cool. We were already chatting like for the past hour, and it's like feels like we already did the interview.
I know we're done. We
But
can go.
yeah. But yeah. So I mean, oh, I feel like it's so weird. We're already chatting, and I don't know where to like suddenly cut in. Like I was just asking you what you had for lunch. You said you had a veggie burger.
I know that wasn't very
Yeah,
exciting, but
yeah.
I did make some bread. I made some sourdough bread, and it
Oh, I get it. I get it.
yeah, for the piece. This is the bread from the prop. That'll make sense
Uh-huh.
later as we watch some of the work that I had created while over at Automata.
Yes.
Um, so I think there's like a few videos that we have and some
Mm-hmm.
images, and I think we can when we show one first, and we can talk and
Let's do
show and
that. Let's
tell.
do that. Yeah, that's right.
Keep it
That's
old
right. Oh yeah,
school.
that was the
Yeah.
plan. That was the plan. Okay. Open screen intro show. Okay, I'm gonna show. All right. Let's see if everybody could still hear this and everything. Here we go. Let me know if you can't see or hear it. But it's the, so it says experiment number one.
This is not your ritual kink event about the good old South or poor black people. This is not your ritual kink event about the good old South or poor black people. This is how I live in a state of emergency. How I survive in a world that sees me as inhuman. How I survive in a world that sees me as inhuman. Not being racist is the new racism. Not being racist is the new racism. Not being racist is the new racism. I must abolish you. You were never meant to survive. I must abolish you. People treat their dogs better than black people. People treat their dogs better than black people. We have to vomit past to move toward a future. Have you ever had to tell your kids there was nothing to eat? Have you ever been in a 10-hour car ride where you had to hold your urine, your tongue, your stomach, and thirst to prevent assault? Have you ever cringed at the sound of a police siren? Have you ever had to tell your kids that there was no food to eat? Have you ever been harassed publicly? Have you ever had to sit in a car and hold your urine, your tongue, your stomach, and your thirst just to prevent assault? You were never meant to survive. You were never meant to survive.
Wow. So crazy.
Yeah.
Let me try to get. Yeah, can you? Every time I watch that, yeah, it's I'm like, I don't know what to say. um, I don't know. It's can you? But can you? Can you tell us about this, or what are we? What did we just watch? And,
Well, let's
yeah.
see. Well, I guess I can talk to you about this all came about from a few things. Just ruminating on um, being like everyone else in a singular space or for a long period of time and being influenced by everything that's going around me. And so um, I had been taking notes for and kind of collecting a lot of thoughts and images
Mhm.
um, and so when this opportunity with Automata came up, and they were kind and generous enough to ask me if I was working on something, I emphatically said yes because um, I knew that I knew I had a pile of notes, but I didn't know what those notes were. At first, I thought it was kind of with just writing as far like a script, but then I also recognized that it was more than that. And then there was also the caveat of, with working with Automata during this COVID, I had to only work by myself. And so I was forced to think singularly. And a lot of the work that a lot of the work that I had already worked on, the notes were these voices, other voices um, that were that I kept envisioning that weren't my own. And so but then I was like, inside in my mind, I kept thinking, oh, it's more of an ensemble piece, or there's other people. There's other people. I was very well.
When you were writing the script, that's what you had in
When
mind.
I was writing, yeah.
Is that
And
what
so,
came first? The text? Yeah, that's a.
yeah, the text came first, but then not really because it was just snatches of things, right?
Okay,
It wasn't
I see.
complete, but it was just snatches of different ideas. And then once I got into Automata, I was then forced to think image out. And so because I could only work no one else could be in the space with me. I could only and I only had like a few weeks to be in that space. So I came into that space with those notes.
Right, right.
And because it was just me, I realized very quickly that, like out of all, 10, 15 pages of notes, I really only had like 3 pages that I could actually kind of work with um that could be singular focus, so to speak.
Okay.
That could be from my point of view. And so then I started thinking about the space and what I was doing. I'm sure what everybody was thinking when they got into this, like, what do I do with the space?
Yes, yes, yes.
How do I work with this, knowing it's private? And so I decided to really embrace it. I decided, it's like, well, this is it.
You went all the way.
Yeah, right. I was like, well, I can work with Unity.
Oh.
Right? Like I can play with like Automata just hired yourself, and there was this all of a sudden I can do green screen, and I could all of a sudden work. So I decided to use the space as a staging area.
Okay,
and
I see.
I decided then and then I became my own crew. I became like a one-woman band, right? Like I had to, it was really funny because I like to think of myself like I puppeted myself. And we'll see this a little later in some other clips of how like in the act of like think of an image, come up with the image, realize the image, then shoot it, come back, look at it, then reset, readjust. That in itself is a very painstaking process, but is very similar to stop motion, for example.
I see. I see.
Which was what I realized when I brought in my friend Nicole Emmons, who's a stop motion animator, which to have a collaboration conversation with some of the ideas that I was working with, and some of the and we'll see some of that work as well.
Yes.
And so then I just decided to free myself up and say, we don't know what this is going to be. So let's just experiment, let's play. And so that's why I think I really am keeping the onus on myself of keeping this as like, these are
I see.
experiments.
I admire you a lot, and this endeavor. I think, like I just as a like a experimental musician, artist, whatever. Like I think there's a lot of work that says they're experimental, but then they're you just like there's no stakes. But this has some stakes in it, you know, and it truly is. You are making experiments, and it's very performative. And so I think like the title, yeah. I mean, at first I'm like, oh, like there's another. Everybody does performance experiments, but this is you're performing and you're experimenting, yeah, which is like really admirable. Yeah, and you did 3 of these. Would you say, is that how you kind of saw
Yeah,
your
I
time?
definitely went in there really ambitious. I think I even probably was like, oh, I'm gonna do like 4, maybe 5, and like
Right.
talking to like Susan and Janie, and then they were like, okay, and I still couldn't even really tell them what I had necessarily, because again, it was still just stuff in my head. And so that's what I really valued about this whole experience, was just being able to like get stuff out and see what stuck.
Yeah, totally.
You know, there's definitely some things that you realize that stick, and some things that, you know, like I'm not, you know, I think, you know, if I had my druthers, there would be a crew there, right? Or there would be, but you know, that I also learned so much from this, and so it's also helped push me into different mediums, working in a different way and seeing things in a different way, that I feel like has opened me up as an artist.
It's yeah, that's really cool. I wonder if, I mean, I don't, maybe you're out of many things, you're also a director, and maybe you can direct our time in terms of when you want us to see.
Yeah.
You know, I think we have like 6 segments or something. We got like the bread eating.
Shut up.
But no. Oh, by the way, there's no time limit on this. Like I'm free until 5. No. But it's up to you how you want to direct it. I'm here to kind of just poke at you and make you talk and just be able to kind of share, you know, your work, with everybody. So please, somebody texted, said I'm here on board from Automata. This is fabulous. Thanks, Cheryl. This super awesome. I mean, maybe can we
let's show the next one.
Show the next one. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm not telling you to not talk, like I'm sure, like
if people have questions, they can ask.
By the way, so we're trying this out. This in itself is an experiment. I came on with a live setting of a beach, but I think Kendra didn't want that, so we're in the real here. And if you're just joining us, this is Kendra Ware. She was a resident artist at Automata for the month of October. I believe it's like the 9th to the 23rd. And we're about to watch a second piece of hers. I think, is it the title? It's called Bread Eating. Is that right?
Yeah, Kendra? That's what I mean.
Is
for
that
you,
the official for me? Oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
Those are all like so random.
My bad.
Those are all based on humor, probably, but you can read them. They're funny.
Okay. All right. Well, my file says number 2 is bread eating with music, and GS2 rotated start at 30 seconds. Let's do that. All right. Wow. You still there? Okay. Stop sharing. Oh. Wow. I feel like after each piece, I need like, yeah, I need a moment to, yeah, to chill.
Yeah.
But
And I feel like there will be those moments when it's realized, right? There'll be those moments of breath, right? To breathe. Because it is.
yeah, right. I mean, when you first said you were gonna do ASMR and bread making, I was thinking it would be like really peaceful with like lounge music, and this is not that. Yeah.
That's an ultimate mashup.
Yeah. What I mean, what inspired you to make this? I mean, like what this particular experiment? Yeah. Bread and your, you know.
Well, a few things like
Yeah.
and so like this will come being complementary. All three of them, I guess it's kind of like a triptych at this point, but they all relate to each other in different ways.
Okay,
So
I see.
when we watch the next thing, this will make more sense.
Right.
But the bread making, I like everybody else was making bread, done that. And like and I found it interesting that was like a form of our healing, or as a way of getting through this. But we're also kind of like slowly becoming gluten intolerant. Like I can't really even eat bread. I'm like at the same time afraid it's going to give me diabetes. So like it's like killing me, right? And it's killing us, or it's not it's not what. So there, and I thought there was something about that. And then like as I really got into bread, and so then I started research.
Okay.
Because I'm a nerd in that way, and I started really, and then language started really sticking out to me, which is referred, which we start in the next piece about how in the process of bread making, life was also starting to happen, right? Things were happening around me. So there's a story that also gets mixed in. Because I'm also I also had an incident with my neighbor, which we can talk about more. But I which couldn't be ignored after a while, and into the theater, or into the space with me, because it was something that I realized that was just as much a part of what I was exploring already. And it was something that the storytelling aspect, it was something that was really personal, and that was happening.
Like the incident with the neighbor was already a part of what you were.
My neighbor, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
It's real. It's real.
So and so.
Okay, I was wondering about that because that story just seems like a story, but it's real. Yeah. Oh shoot.
So maybe I guess we should probably go into that.
Okay. All right. Don't leave people hanging.
Out, right?
All right. If you're just joining us, we're on experiment number. Is that 2? Would you say, or is it? I don't know. Okay.
3,
And we don't know the title, right? It's has something to do with the neighbor. Okay. We'll just show it, and then we'll talk.
And
about
the bread making, yes.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So blackface bread making number 3.
And welcome to my Mammy's Kitchen. Today I'm going to make our black people better than white people's sourdough bread. Woo! That's my controversy. Oh, but I tell you, it's great. Now, first of all, what you're going to need is a starter. What's a starter? Well, it's really just 1 cup of flour and half a cup of H2O, Then what you do is you mix that all together, get it all nice, and then you put it in a container, and then you put it off to the side and forget about it for about a few weeks. Shoot, don't even have to feed it. And then what you're gonna have is you will have cultivated and tamed a wild and bubbly yeast. Wild yeast is what we need to create sourdough. Now the French used to call sourdough, the starter. The French call the starter levain. Now some people say that the starter is the part that you keep for your dough, and some people say that the part that you keep, and then it's also, they say that it's also the part that you keep aside. So the starter is what you put aside, and then it becomes a levain when you want to use it in your dough, because it's supposed to be that in a mother dough, or a primary levain, or chief. I don't know. Starter, levain, all of these are different types of preferments, or préfère, or préfère, as the French say, préfère. It's a lovely term. One that gets stayed behind, stuck behind. Now it may get stuck between your fingers, but you can still work it, because all it takes to work this all white, all purpose flour is just more flour, 3½ cups to be exact, with a cup of water, and then you are making, on your way to making, a beautiful sourdough bread. Now you see I'm working this, and I'm going to put it off to the side for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to work again. Then I'll just cover it while it rests, you see. I like to cover mine in an old pot that I know it's going to fit in. Reminds me of how my neighbor came to me the other day claiming I had stolen her purse. I had just helped her put her groceries from her car up to her apartment up the stairs because she's elderly. She's 86 years old. I figured she needed help. She was so grateful. She said, "Oh, I'm going to give you $5." I said, "No, ma'am. There's no reason for you to do all that. It's my pleasure." I closed the door and went on about my business. In fact, I got on the phone call and talked to my girlfriend. Few minutes later, I get a crazy knock on the door. And it's this, my neighbor, and she's saying, "Where's my purse? You took my purse. You better give me back my purse." I don't know what she's talking about. Calm down, lady. What is the problem? You took my purse. I know you took it. It was there right outside next to the groceries, and now all of a sudden it's disappeared. What did you do with my purse? Let's retrace our steps, ma'am. You saw me. I saw you. I asked if you needed help. You said yes. I helped you. Why, if I helped you, would I then steal your purse? I don't know, but that's what you people do all the time. You steal, you're cunning. Okay, I'm gonna call the cops on you, okay? I am going to have to close the door, and I don't want to engage you anymore. I don't like where this is going. I don't like where this is going. I close the door. And I don't know what to do. I'm starting to think that did I do it? Did I do something wrong? How could I have done to prevent this? Who should I call for help? Do I call the cops and say, help, help, there's a crazy white lady. I feel threatened. Help, huh? Help, help, there's a crazy white lady who doesn't see me. I feel threatened. But I don't want to get rid of her independence. I don't want to be the person who calls the cops on her. What should I do? Friends say ignore it. I decide to bake her some bread. And I put it in the shape of a calorie. And I pray that this lady gets help. And I pray that this bread will appease her and make it in the shape of a calorie, my offering to her, so that she might find her lost spirituality. Her lost spirituality. And then you let that rise overnight until you bake it, until you get something rising overnight. It rises overnight. Rise overnight. Rise.
I just got a text, from you that said to stop it there. So
Yeah,
I
you
hope
did.
that was okay. Okay. Man, I'm really sad. I wish it was a fictional story. Mhm.
Sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction, right? It's more realer.
Mm. Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. And so I think it also was speaking to me about like visibility and invisibility, right? How one sees the other person. And I think that's where I started working with the black face, the white face. I'm
Okay.
used to working with white face because I have a background with Butoh.
Okay.
And so, you know, that's supposed to be um, that's one thing about this embodiment of like
Right.
humanity, life and death, that kind of thing.
Mm.
But then the blackface was something that was new in the sense of, you know, there's a lot of history with it, but then it's also about I realized like there's a lack of seeing. There's this there's a lack of control of how I see. There's almost like a caricature of me, or it's, you know, it's me but not me.
Like an
Um,
avatar or something, like a
right,
modern
yeah.
day.
And
Yeah,
so then
yeah.
that's why I also started working with the other imagery of like the black and white, because then I started doing research with like African initiation ceremonies, and then starting to look at like how like we've used this idea, how we work with seeing, and how that can be um, code switched almost. And so
Code switch? What do you mean?
yeah,
Like,
like how that can be how the coding, how I can re-embrace those images for
uh-huh.
my own,
Right, right.
speak to um, what's happening to me now, as a way of cloaking myself into some form of spirituality, as a
Mm-hmm.
way of projecting something that could be spiritual or something that can be strong for someone else that they were,
I see.
who I see um, no longer has the ability to see. This isn't a person who is um, a terrible person. This isn't you know, I don't think this is someone who, you know,
Yeah,
this is someone who I think would consider themselves, you know, the most free liberal person ever, you know, whatever. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and that might be the case, but I think that um, that's not to say that we don't inherit things, that we aren't cloaked, wearing these cloaks,
Hmm.
or these aren't or these shadows, right, that are
Yeah,
following us, that we ignore. They're there, you know, they're
right.
still there, and they may come up in old age. They may come up in a state of mania, right?
Huh.
They may come up in a state of when I need to protect.
Right.
Um,
Right.
they come up in funny moments.
Yeah, that urge to, yeah, that comes out and you don't even know, you don't even know it. Yeah,
Yeah.
what you
And
mean.
so I think for me, um, that spoke volumes to what was happening on a larger scale.
Okay. Wow. It's quite a quite an endeavor and quite a piece, and definitely powerful. I mean, like, I mean, there's so many things I want to ask you. I know we can't like probably get into it, but I mean, there's like the flag and the colors, and you're wearing like Minnie Mouse, and oh wait, it's America. Oh wait.
Well, yeah. Well, some of those things, I mean, well, like
Yeah,
those
yeah.
blankets, those are like my grandmother, my great grandmothers, and my great, like they're ancestral, right? Some of them are my
Uh-huh.
great grandfathers. So
Okay, okay.
there's a lot of, I'm working with a lot of imagery. Some of that stuff has been thrust upon me,
Right.
right? Or my race. Is like I like the working with the tablecloths, like that tablecloth with that had like all that mammy imagery, you know, that's something
Yes,
that I
yes.
was able to buy,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
Like that was something that was manufactured and put out for consumption for people to eat on. So I also thought that was really interesting. So I also
That,
was playing around with those
yeah.
ideas
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
of like what we use, and then what I, and then like the blankets also, you know, I think back to like, you know, the research when I think about like when the first slaves came in, right, and they come and they're being evaluated or for how much they're for their worth. um, Most of them only had just the blank, you know, their ancestral blanket or the blanket that they were able to carry, or that represented their tribe. um, and so I just with nothing necessarily on underneath, and this idea of like female nudity versus and how that's linked with modesty. um, yeah, I think, yeah, it was playing, and how that um, is linked upon the black body also. um,
Yes, yes, yes.
how that's not necessarily um, given the same weight as it would another body.
Right, right. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the language, because you mentioned about like the is it language, like the word games, or in terms of like, can you maybe allude briefly before we go to the white face
Yeah.
thing? But yeah, yeah,
Well,
uh-huh.
so like, so for me, like where the ASMR comes more in that first video, where like those whisperings, I think in an ideal world there'll be lots of different voices
Mm-hmm.
that will be coming out, different qualities of voices, saying those types of words. And I think for me, and they can be whispers,
Uh-huh.
um, they can't, but it's how they affect and how they get absorbed, that I'm more interested in. And
Oh, we have a quick question from Susan. She said she couldn't hear a key detail. You made the bread in the shape of a what?
a cowrie, a cowrie
Cowrie. Okay.
shell, which is
What's a
also
cow? I don't know what that is. Can you?
do it. That one
Yeah.
here, yeah, I do. Here
Uh,
it is. It's a cowrie.
what? Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. So this was like it was at some point currency. It's also just a shell, but it's from Africa.
What's the significant? I mean, I know nothing
Well, it's also
about that. Sorry.
there's
Yeah.
a lot. There's like there's a lot. I think it's just one of those things that harken back to quote unquote the motherland. It was used at some point as currency. It was also at some point used as people can use it as for good luck, for talisman. There's all sorts of
I see.
I
But
was
for
using
you
it
and to make, what was the
as a
significance of?
way. I found it interesting that a lot of bread dough ends up with this shape. There's that. Then I think
Yes.
I was also making it a very specific point in making this shape. This idea of giving the bread over to someone as a way of like soothing the soul, as a form of salvation, or as a form of help, or something. I think that's kind of what I was getting
I
at.
see. I see. Yeah, it's so amazing. I mean, I love this the way you took it. I mean, if somebody did something racist to me, and then I don't think I'd be making bread and then praying for them and then slamming it on yeah, it's brilliant. How does this connect to whiteface? The is it a
So
pair?
I
Do you see
think
that?
when you
I mean, or
see the next one, yeah, and I think
uh,
I think when we started from like the end of it, right? You can just see where the ideas just continued. I think
oh,
ideally
okay, okay.
the pieces would be cut together.
Mhm.
So you'd be going back and forth between the black and white and black and white and black and
Oh, sorry, I cut you off there. I
no,
was
you're
just trying to
fine.
get, I was trying to cue the video, but should I, you want me to
Yeah,
start it at the 4 minutes or
yeah,
where
4:30 or something like
4:30?
that.
Okay, let's do that. So something, is it around here? I guess halfway. Is this okay? Kendra, is that okay there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right, cool.
And I think it's planned though. Is it playing?
Could you not hear it? Let me see here.
Or see it?
My bad. Sorry, I'm new to this medium too. Oh, I forgot to share screen. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. So number 4, white face. We start about here. 4:30. All right.
Apartment. Let's retrace our steps. I know you did it! Ma'am, let's retrace our steps. You have always stolen from me. I have a list of everything that you have stolen from me. I'm gonna have to close the door because what you're accusing me, ma'am, is a lie. I will call the cops on you. Ma'am, let's think about this. I'm a black woman, you're a white woman threatening to call the cops on me. This is not a good time to do that with COVID. Let's be rational. I know you took it. Just give it back. 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 I slammed the door on her. I don't know what to do. I've never been accused. What should I do? Should I call the cops on her and let them know, hello, help, police, there's a crazy white lady, and I need help. I feel threatened. Hello, police, there's a crazy white lady, and I need help. I feel threatened. Hello, police, there's a crazy white lady, and I need help. Well, she has a gun. She suddenly doesn't see me. What do? I'll break her some bread. I'll break her some sourdough bread. That should do it, right? Some sourdough bread. As a peacekeeper. Sourdough bread. I think she'd like that. And I'll make it in the shape of a carol so that she'll remember that at one time she had a spirit, so that she'll remember through my offering that at one point she had a spirit, that she'll remember through my offering that at one point she had a spirit, that at one point she had a spirit.
Hmm. Wow. What goes through your head when you watch this? It's,
Oh, I'm seeing all the technical all the stuff that I intended to happen. Like, because there's also another camera, so that's also what I was referring to. This was a time where I was working with 2 cameras instead of 1.
Okay. Got it.
You know, I wish I had more time to edit. I wish I, I'm
These
looking
are
at all the things that I wish were better. But I think I don't know if that's what you're asking, but I think.
I mean, yeah, yes and no. I mean, I guess more, I mean, it's all connected, right? I guess like you were saying how like your really unfortunate experience with your neighbor like is very much a part of your experience there. And then like maybe your experience with the technical side of things, yeah, it is also part of your reality, you know, the real. And
Yeah.
how do you, I mean, I guess like there's another question added on top of that, because I know you can think in like a million ways, so I'm just going to throw stuff at you. But like what do you think ultimately are you aiming for, you know, in these experiments? Do you see them, you know, are you going to run your own TV show? Are you gonna I don't know, like the Mammy character and like,
oh
you know,
my
whatever,
God,
or,
no.
yeah.
Well, it is interesting. Like, I do feel like this has and I think we were talking about that, like this is neither, like this moment has forced me to think beyond live performance or think whatever live is. I don't
right.
that has to change now, right?
Yes,
And that's due to circumstance, and I think that's a good thing. It's about it's helped me to kind of think differently, and kind of blender my ideas in a different way, which is fun.
yeah.
That being said, I think it kind of hugs in a couple of worlds. I do consider myself a multimedia artist of sorts, and so I think that this is, I think there's a way for it to live as a visual video medium, and I also think that there's a way that the two can complement each other with live. It can be complemented with live performance as well. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can continue to explore that and realize it in both forms. I think the next things will be about kind of continuing to like edit my ideas together, and then further thinking about when things do open up and what can staging be like? What are the possibilities within that work?
Wow. All that within 2 weeks. That's quite a yeah. We've only seen not even half of the stuff. I mean, like that, but I mean, I see Nicole kind of popped on a couple of minutes ago. Yeah. Hi, Nicole. Yeah, she was answering people's questions actually, because it's like the cowrie shell. I think, but you guys kind of addressed it at the same time. Speaking of like this new condition or what's live or whatever, it's like you can have multiple questions and answers and whatnot. But I love what you're. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna
Oh,
say?
I love. Yeah.
Please.
I love the different kinds of experiments. Yeah, like not just in the variety of content or whatever, but just in terms of like you're approaching this in such a multi-dimensional way. You know, there's we don't have time to show everybody everything, but like there's stills and photos. Maybe
we can show some of the stuff that I worked with Nicole.
Okay.
I think that Starburst one was a good one. Maybe some of her time lapse. I mean, and I can talk through some of that.
Yeah, because some of them doesn't have sound, right? So maybe should we show this one? Would that be good, Kendra?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's show this one. This one you can talk over this one, right? Yeah. So this is with Nicole Emmons.
Yeah. So this is after Nicole envisioning of me to the neighbor.
Yeah, what's up with that? What's the baboon? Is that just kind of
that's the neighbor?
Yeah, that's the okay. Got it. Okay.
And we were talking about. I think there's a lot of imagery. That will be coming up, but it didn't play. But it's certainly in the language.
Yeah.
And how usually descriptions of people. So I think I like to play with that because I think that when they say barbaric behavior is actually on the other side of things. So I think that's what that was kind of about, kind of that role reversal.
I see.
There's another one I think that she did. I can show that one.
Is it different?
That Starburst one, I think.
This one.
I think it's that one.
Is it this one?
Different. This is where she worked with an image. Some stills that I was working with.
Oh wow.
I don't know if that's shared. Is that shared with everyone?
Oh, is that shared? Okay, let me. Oh, thank you for that. We do all need to work as a team. So this is the Starburst. Starburst. Yep.
Yeah, and I was playing around. And I had what I created with this hair. Again, I was playing a lot with like this African imagery with like the connotations that come about when you play around with blonde hair. Yeah, just trying to explore. Again, that was more of the experience. What works, what doesn't work. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's super. I love. I mean, you at the very beginning of our time, you were talking about how you're basically the puppeteer and the puppet, and like literally that's the case here, and that's really really interesting.
It's true. I mean, like we have a video of Nicole when she does like.
Yep. That's
a really good example of what I was doing on my end as well.
Are you talking about this one?
What she's. Yeah, so she's laying, takes a picture, layer, take a picture, right? Layer, take a layer, move. It's very painstaking. And takes a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And so I found that I was doing that myself
Mhm.
in the space of
I see.
like I was the puppet, I was this hand, I was her eyes. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Huh. Um,
And so I think I want to play with that a little bit more too, as I go on. Like, what is this? Playing with scale, playing again with the silhouettes of like invisibility and visibility. I think stop motion can lend itself to extending that storytelling wise.
yeah, yeah. I'm reading a message by Nicole. Says show the one with the words coming at her. Is there? I don't know if I got that file, but maybe
I
we
think
could.
so. Is that one in there? I think so. It's very similar. I think, is it in there?
It may not have made the Google file, maybe the downloads or something, but can you just maybe briefly tell us about that, and then we can maybe move on to some
Yeah, that one
some other
is
stuff as well? Or-
very similar. That one's also just another view. We were looking at like the words coming at me, and so that was the one where I think we had a silhouette of
I see.
myself and in the doorway,
Wow.
and words were coming over and covering me up. That was the idea with that
I
one.
see. I see.
But
Huh.
yeah, like I think that's also one that also speaks to like I think when you have more time, and I mean Nicole would have been with us, that she
That would have been
I
yeah.
still
I just I'm Nicole.
so we appreciate all of her work, and we know that she's safe, and but
How did you guys meet? Is it
well, we met
through-
at Cal Arts. That's also
Okay.
how I kind of got involved with Automata. Janie and Susan were both instructors of mine at Cal Arts, and Cal Arts is a beautiful place in the sense that you can play with other people and collaborate, and I was really big on that. And so I was always like, what you guys doing over here? And in the animation department, and what are you guys doing over here in the music department? And instead of just kind of being in my own little world. And so, yeah, Nicole and I met up there, and we lived together for a while. And we've collaborated on other projects before. She helped with a project, a one-woman show that I was working on. And I've always been trying to figure out a way to try to work with her again.
Yeah.
And so this moment came up, and it's hard because it's remote, and I'm finding that for me, what's hard is giving up the control or having and being patient with what is given. I find that I like to be very hands-on. So I think that's one of those things that I've learned, to trust the process. I think that's my own artist
I see.
confession, I guess, where I could work on things.
Yeah. It's no, that's really that's huge. Yeah, to be able to trust the process. I think it's yeah. I mean, would you like to share anything else like during your time here with our friends and or I mean, I have a couple of questions maybe in closing, but like or I mean, it's up to you how you.
I'm pretty open. I mean, I think that's. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
I shared. I feel like whatever questions you have.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe I have like two more questions. Maybe and we could. Yeah,
that sounds
that'd be
good.
cool. What do you think is like the biggest thing that you're learning on the topic of like learning to trust the process? Would you say that's one of the biggest things, like by going through this process of maybe residency and life and racist neighbors, like yeah, what are you learning? Yeah, as an artist, as a person, and whatever.
Ooh. Yeah, I think breathing. I think I'm always constantly telling other people to breathe. That I have to tell myself that too. I think it's easy to get caught up in all the cacophony of voices, right? And so I think for me, it helps to be able to zero in and focus in, and really start to think about what's important, what I value, and how can I reflect the vision that I have for the world, right, or that I want. And I think, I think like everybody else, there's a lot of dissension and grief, and I think that you can't ignore it. I think that's ultimately what I come back from, is that you can't ignore it. We can try and live in our bubbles and watch Netflix and eat bread or bake bread, but then shit still happens. You can still leave the door and be in peril, at least for myself. And I think that that's not unique for a lot of people, or a lot of people like myself, for example. And I think that, or that it's not a given. And for me, living in 2020, I think that is worth examining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well said. Yeah, you kind of answered my last question, which was basically more like outer kind of world focus. But you strike me as someone just is very connected and in tune, with life and the world and whatnot, and that really shows through your work. It's beautiful. I love all of it. Some of it I hate it in the sense that like what you're telling us about, wow, we're so ugly, but that is very much the reality of things right now, and I so appreciate the way that you just bore your body, mind, and soul into all this, and also while just having a sense of humor about it, and it's so rewarding, and but also like heartbreaking at the same time, but heartwarming, somehow, and like, there's a unique kind of quality to you and to your work that I just find. I think those of us at Automata, I think Susan and Janie were checking that stuff out as well, and like, wow, this is very wow. So, but
Thank you.
thank you so much for sharing this with us and sharing your life with us in such a intimate way, and I'm so glad you're at Automata for this, and I wish you the very, very best. In the future, and all that. I'd love to see what becomes of this this whole baking thing. Should be cool.
Yeah, maybe I'll get better at it. We'll see.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay, well, until next
Thank
time.
you so much. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Me too. Yeah, and thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.